Inventors frequently push the boundaries, motivated by an unquenchable curiosity to produce new inventions that change our knowledge of the world. Yet, despite the frenzy of creativity, there is a sobering truth. Occasionally, these creations take on a life of their own, resulting in disastrous consequences for their creators. From bright minds to untimely deaths, join us as we journey through these 20 inventions, where curiosity quite literally killed the cat. Number 20. Henry Giffard. Henry Giffard, a French inventor and aviation pioneer known for his contributions to airships and steam-powered engines, set out on a daring mission to develop a personal flying apparatus, a precursor to the current jetpack. However, his pursuit of this daring idea led to a horrible conclusion. In the late 1800s, Giffard became fascinated by the idea of personal flight, which sparked his research into numerous designs for a steam-powered flying machine. He dedicated himself to accomplishing his idea, believing that a tiny and lightweight steam engine could produce the necessary thrust for controlled flight. Giffard's early experiments with steam-powered flying machines showed promise, pushing him to improve his designs even more. In 1878, he built a small-scale model of his envisioned jetpack, which had a steam engine for propulsion and a complex system of pipes and valves to control the steam's direction. Giffard, eager to put his invention to the test, decided to demonstrate the jetpack personally on September 24, 1882, in front of a gathering throng in Paris. When he triggered the steam engine, the jetpack lifted him off the ground, evoking excitement from the audience. However, catastrophe came quickly when the gadget failed within seconds of liftoff. The steam pipes burst, scorching Giffard and causing him to lose control of his jetpack. In a terrifying moment, he plunged back to Earth, his ambitious flight ending in disaster. Number 19. Jimmy Heselden. Jimmy Heselden, a British entrepreneur, made news when he bought the Segway company in 2010. Heselden was known not only for his economic ability, but also for his charity efforts and desire for adventure. However, disaster struck only months after he purchased the company. Heselden died on September 26, 2010, while riding a Segway X2 model, an all-terrain variant of the two-wheeled self-balancing electric vehicle, near his estate in West Yorkshire, England. The facts of the tragedy are unknown. However, it is thought that Heselden lost control of the Segway and plunged from a 30-foot precipice into the river wharf below. Despite efforts by emergency personnel, Heselden was pronounced dead on the scene. The news of his death shook the world, since it was a cruel irony that the very invention he had obtained with the goal of providing joy and innovation to others had eventually led to his own death. Despite its intended function of delivering convenience and efficiency in personal mobility, the Segway proved lethal in this case. The specific circumstances surrounding Heselden's deadly accident are unknown. However, speculation suggests that he may have mistakenly accelerated or struck a barrier, causing him to lose control of the Segway. Number 18. Ralph Ullner. Ralph Ullner, an American inventor, met a horrible end while testing his innovative invention, motorized roller skates. Ullner aimed to transform the classic roller skating experience by eliminating the need for manual pushing and gliding techniques. In the early 1970s, Ullner began developing his original notion, which resulted in the fabrication of a powered roller skate prototype. These skates had tiny gasoline engines that powered rubberized wheels, allowing riders to easily adjust their speed and direction with a portable throttle. On June 17, 1972, Ullner traveled to the streets of his hometown, Easton, Pennsylvania, to test his motorized roller skates. As he skated down the road, disaster struck when he appeared to lose control of his skates, drifting into the path of an approaching car. The subsequent crash was horrific, ejecting Ullner from his skates and inflicting severe damage on him. In a desperate attempt to save Ullner's life, emergency services transported him to a neighboring hospital. Despite their best attempts, Ullner died from his injuries shortly after arriving, bringing his pioneering efforts to a tragic end. While his motorized roller skates had the potential to revolutionize the world of roller skating, its invention came at a significant personal cost. Number 17. Sylvester H. Roper. Sylvester H. Roper, an American inventor, is regarded as a pioneer in the field of personal mobility after developing one of the first steam-powered bicycles. Roper's creation cleverly combined the efficiency of steam power with the mobility and comfort of a bicycle, setting the groundwork for future advances in transportation technology. In the late 1860s, Roper began experimenting with steam engines, investigating their potential applications in vehicles. His creativity led him to create a small and lightweight steam engine that could be perfectly incorporated into a bicycle frame, allowing riders to push the vehicle with steam power. On June 1, 1896, Roper took to a bicycle track in Cambridge, Massachusetts, to show off his innovation to the public. As he moved around the track, he demonstrated the extraordinary speed and efficiency of his steam-powered bicycle, assuring spectators of its potential. However, tragedy struck during the demonstration when Roper collapsed while riding the bicycle. Despite rapid efforts to provide medical assistance, Roper was pronounced dead shortly after arriving at a local hospital. Roper's tragic death overshadowed his pioneering efforts in transportation. Number 16. Kazimierz Zeglin. Kazimierz Zeglin, a Polish monk and inventor, spent his life pioneering the development of bulletproof gear, leaving an everlasting imprint on the history of body armor. However, his unwavering dedication to his career may have contributed to his early death. In the late 1800s, Zeglin set out to design a lightweight, flexible fabric that could survive bullets. In pursuit of this lofty ambition, his imaginative spirit drove him to experiment with a variety of materials, including silk and steel. Early prototypes showed potential, drawing attention from both the military and law enforcement communities. Zeglin's most famous innovation was the bulletproof vest, a breakthrough piece of armor that he publicly exhibited several times. In a stunning display of trust in his design, Zeglin had an assistant shoot him at close range while wearing the vest. The armor effectively stopped the bullet, protecting Zeglin and demonstrating the effectiveness of his concept. Despite the success of his demonstrations, Zeglin encountered tremendous obstacles in obtaining funding for his revolutionary work. Undeterred, he spent endless hours perfecting his designs and experimenting with new materials, often at great personal cost. Zeglin's unwavering dedication to his work took a toll on his health, as he put his own well-being aside in pursuit of his creative efforts. His unwavering pursuit of invention, while praiseworthy, may have contributed to his untimely demise. Number 15. Franz Reichelt. Franz Reichelt, an Austrian-born French tailor, made history with his disastrous attempt to test his newly created parachute suit. Reichelt had been working on a wearable parachute that would help pilots escape from their aircraft in an emergency. On February 4, 1912, his desire to show off his creation to the rest of the world brought him to Paris's Eiffel Tower. Despite warnings from friends and officials, Reichelt was resolved to personally test his parachute suit by leaping from the Eiffel Tower's first platform, which is about 187 feet above ground. As a crowd gathered to see the spectacle, Reichelt put on his parachute suit, which appeared large and heavy. However, he paused for a second before taking the leap. Tragically, the parachute failed to deploy correctly, and Reichelt plunged to the earth, dying instantly on contact. His terrible death underlined the perils of overconfidence and the importance of rigorous planning and evaluation, especially in high-risk activities like aviation and parachute creation. Number 14. Andrew Macaulay. Andrew Macaulay, an Australian adventurer and kayaker, set out on a hazardous voyage that would eventually end in disaster, telling a story of bravery, determination, and the harsh reality of nature's unpredictability. Macaulay's unsuccessful effort to paddle solo across the Tasman Sea from Australia to New Zealand is forever inscribed in nautical history. In January 2007, Macaulay set off from Tasmania in a specially built kayak, driven by the desire to be the first person to accomplish the arduous 1,000-mile trek solo and unsupported. Months of rigorous preparation preceded his departure, during which he carefully analyzed weather patterns and fine-tuned his kit for the arduous journey ahead. For the first 30 days of his trip, Macaulay made solid progress, traversing choppy seas and dealing with unexpected weather conditions. Despite the difficulties, he maintained regular contact with his support team by satellite phone, delivering critical information on his whereabouts and well-being. However, on February 9, 2007, disaster occurred. Macaulay made his final touch with his support crew, stating that he was facing heavy gusts and dangerous seas, just 50 miles from his target. In a tragic twist of fate, his kayak was found capsized and partially submerged the next day, with no sign of Macaulay himself. A massive search and rescue operation occurred, but despite exhausting attempts, Macaulay's body was never located, leaving unresolved questions and a tragic reminder of the sea's harsh nature. Number 13. Jens Peter. Jens Peter, a Danish inventor and engineer, was tragically killed while testing his jet-powered car in 1976. Peter had been working ceaselessly on a revolutionary vehicle propulsion system that used jet engines, with the intention of constructing a car capable of reaching unprecedented speeds. On the day of the tragic test, Peter set out on a mission to drive his jet-powered automobile down a closed-off route in Denmark. The vehicle, which has a jet engine attached on its back, was meant to accelerate quickly and reach incredible speeds. As Peter began his test run, the automobile responded as expected, speeding quickly. However, as the vehicle gathered speed, its stability began to deteriorate. Eyewitnesses reported witnessing the automobile drifting unpredictably before losing control and colliding into a nearby field. Tragically, Peter died instantaneously in the incident, bringing an end to his inventive pursuit. Subsequent examinations indicated that the car's instability at high speeds was caused by aerodynamic flaws and insufficient testing of the jet propulsion system. His commitment to pushing the boundaries of automotive engineering eventually led to his untimely death. Number 12. Valerian Abakovsky. Valerian Abakovsky, a Russian maverick inventor, made history by inventing the aerowagon, a stunning contraption that perfectly merged pieces of a train car with the power of an aircraft engine. Conceived in the midst of 1917's tumultuous year, the aerowagon emerged as a steampunk marvel, with a fearsome propeller attached to its back and the ability to hurtle over the Russian countryside at dizzying speeds of up to 140 kilometers per hour. As word spread of Abakovsky's innovative idea, it piqued the interest of the Soviet elite, who promptly ordered a test run to determine the viability and potential of this ambitious invention. The aerowagon set out on its maiden voyage in July 1921. The initial journey went smoothly, with the aerowagon rushing towards its target with unparalleled speed and precision. However, tragedy loomed on the horizon as the return trip to Moscow became a perilous affair. At the height of its speed, calamity came, and the aerowagon careened off the tracks, plunging into pandemonium and destruction. Despite the disastrous derailment, 16 of the 22 passengers on board survived. Unfortunately, Valerian Abakovsky, the inspiration behind the aerowagon, was not one of the fortunate survivors. Tragically killed in his prime at the age of 25, Abakovsky's premature death echoed beyond borders, taking the lives of prominent delegates from Britain, Germany, and Australia, who had traveled on this ill-fated voyage to witness the wonders of Soviet ingenuity firsthand. Number 11. Otto Lilienthal. Otto Lilienthal, a German aviation pioneer, is remembered for his breakthrough contributions to the field of gliders. His tireless research and testing paved the way for the development of modern aircraft. However, his ardent pursuit of flight resulted in catastrophe. Throughout the late 19th century, Lilienthal carried out a series of groundbreaking glider experiments, diving into the complexities of aerodynamics and seeking for controlled, sustained flight. With each iteration, he improved his ideas. On August 9, 1896, Lilienthal was testing his latest glider design in Rau, Germany. After completing numerous successful flights earlier in the day, he took what would be his final trip. Disaster struck while gliding at about 50 feet altitude. Lilienthal's glider abruptly halted and lost lift, leaving him unable to restore control. The glider and its pilot fell to the land below. Lilienthal sustained severe injuries, including a fractured spine, and was immediately sent to a local hospital. Despite the greatest efforts of medical personnel, Lilienthal died from his injuries the next day. Number 10. Alexander Bogdanov. Alexander Bogdanov, a brilliant polymath, left a diverse legacy that included philosophy, literature, medicine, and politics in early 20th century Russia. Bogdanov's intellectual pursuits enthralled many, and his key position in the emerging communist organization demonstrated his genuine dedication to societal revolution. However, by the 1920s, Bogdanov's numerous activities had taken their toll, leaving him craving for regeneration and energy. In a brave attempt to defy the passage of time, he turned his focus to the developing science of blood transfusion, hoping to rekindle his diminishing strength and lengthen his life. Drawing on his own medical experience, Bogdanov proceeded on a series of ambitious tests, delving into uncharted areas with the firm confidence that the infusion of youthful blood may restore youth and energy. Bogdanov began his pioneering self-experimentation with the help of willing volunteers, including Lenin's own sister, exchanging his own lifeblood for that of younger donors in the pursuit of eternal youth. Initially, the findings were positive, with Bogdanov claiming increased vitality and strength after a series of transfusions. Encouraged by his felt rejuvenation, he persisted despite the inherent risks of his unusual endeavors. Bogdanov's unrelenting pursuit for rejuvenation was tragically cut short when he died as a result of a disastrous misstep. In a tragic transfusion, he got blood from a young student infected with malaria, a deadly mistake that led to his quick decline and eventual death. Number 9. John Boyd Dunlop. John Boyd Dunlop, a Scottish inventor, is best known for his groundbreaking work on pneumatic tires, which transformed transportation and provided the groundwork for the contemporary vehicle industry. However, Dunlop's life was sadly cut short by a heart attack, which some feel was caused by the stress and overwork associated with his innovative activities. Dunlop began his career as a veterinary surgeon before moving into tire innovation in the late 1880s. Dissatisfied with the pain of solid rubber tires, which were widely utilized at the time, he set out to build a more pleasant and efficient alternative. In 1888, Dunlop made a huge advance by successfully developing and patenting a pneumatic tire design. This design included an inner tube filled with air, which provides cushioning and support for smoother rides. The technology soon gained popularity, notably in the emerging bicycle industry, where pneumatic tires provide more comfort and traction than solid rubber alternatives. The widespread use of Dunlop's pneumatic tires resulted in an increase in bicycle sales and demand for his unique product. However, the success of his idea came with a personal cost. Dunlop became embroiled in legal battles over patent rights and faced stiff competition from other tire makers. Number 8. Louis Alexander Slotin. Louis Alexander Slotin, a scientific star, set out on a journey of unmatched intellectual exploration that would eventually lead to the most significant scientific achievement of the 20th century, the invention of the atomic bomb. Born in 1910 in Canada, Slotin's extraordinary brain propelled him across continents to pursue his intense interest in chemistry and scientific investigation. Slotin's academic career culminated in a vital role in the covert echelons of the Manhattan Project, a group of great minds tasked with harnessing the incredible power of nuclear fission. Slotin's sharp intellect and unshakable dedication made him a key member of the project's scientific vanguard at Los Alamos National Laboratory. His painstaking efforts were solely focused on unraveling the cryptic features of uranium and plutonium, shedding light on the elusive critical mass thresholds at the heart of nuclear weapons. Slotin's passion for discovery was equaled only by his intrinsic curiosity, propelling him to the forefront of dangerous experimentation that blurred the line between scientific inquiry and lethal risk. Slotin finds himself exploring dangerous territory laden with invisible threats and existential dangers, while attempting to understand the complexities of nuclear fission. Tragically, Slotin's great career was defined by his pursuit of knowledge, which ultimately led to his death. Slotin's painstaking experimentation with radioactive materials resulted in a disaster at the Los Alamos laboratory due to a miscalculation. Slotin was exposed to a deadly amount of ionizing radiation during a criticality accident, and his brave efforts to avoid tragedy were fruitless as he succumbed to the insidious consequences of acute radiation poisoning. Number 7. Michael Dacre. Michael Dacre, a British aviation entrepreneur, had a visionary idea for a revolutionary aircraft capable of vertical takeoff and landing, using windmill-like blades. His concept, the Advanced Vertical Lift Center (NEL), attempted to combine the benefits of helicopters with fixed-wing aircraft. On August 16, 2009, Dacre flew his Advanced Vertical Lift Center NEL prototype at Teles Park Airfield near Farnborough, England. Prior to this disastrous trip, the Advanced Vertical Lift Center NEL had successfully completed a series of short hop and hover tests, establishing confidence in its abilities. As the test began, the aircraft smoothly lifted off the ground, demonstrating its vertical lift capabilities as planned. However, catastrophe struck when, shortly after reaching an altitude of about 200 feet, the Advanced Vertical Lift Center NEL suffered a catastrophic failure. The abrupt malfunction caused the aircraft to descend to the ground and crash into a nearby field. Despite Dacre's thorough preparation and previous successful tests, the unexpected failure proved devastating to both the aircraft and its creator. Number 6. Smolinski and Blake. Smolinski and Blake went on a pioneering mission to create the world's first flying automobile, the AVE Mizar, in a daring attempt to combine the automotive and aviation worlds. Inspired by a celestial beacon tucked within the Big Dipper constellation, the two engineers attempted to combine the fuselage of a Cessna Skymaster with the chassis of a Ford Pinto, resulting in an innovative hybrid vehicle. While the huge endeavor found its share of challenges, Smolinski and Blake achieved minor victories in early tests. However, tragedy overshadowed their ambitions on a pivotal day in aviation history. On September 11, 1973, the daring inventors took a key test flight of the Mizar, departing from Ventura County Airport in California, with aspirations soaring alongside their unique creation. However, as the Mizar flew through the heavens, an awful presage appeared in the form of billowing black smoke coming from the airborne car. In a heartbreaking turn of events, the promising flight abruptly fell to earth, resulting in a fatal disaster that took the lives of both Smolinski and Blake, extinguishing their hopes and aspirations in an instant. Now it's time for our subscribers' pick. There is a story about a British inventor named Horace Lawson Hunley, who is often misattributed with inventing a genital prosthetic that led to his death. The myth likely arises from a mix-up with the tragic end of his career. Horace Lawson Hunley, a marine engineer and Confederate inventor during the American Civil War, is best known for developing the first combat submarine, the Hunley. Conceived to break the Union naval blockade of Charleston, South Carolina, the submarine was supposed to strike enemy ships using a torpedo hooked to a long spar. The quest to construct the H.L. Hunley was filled with obstacles and setbacks. Hunley faced the enormous job of developing a vehicle capable of operating effectively underwater, a concept that was entirely unknown at the time. The earliest two prototypes, Pioneer and American Diver, sank during testing, killing numerous crew members. Despite these disappointments, Hunley persevered in his search for innovation. Despite the failures of his earlier designs, Hunley persisted in perfecting his submarine concept. His third and final iteration, the H.L. Hunley, demonstrated his perseverance and ingenuity. On February 17, 1864, during a test drive, the H.L. Hunley set a historic record by successfully attacking and sinking the USS Housatonic, becoming the first submarine to sink an enemy ship in combat. Unfortunately, tragedy struck shortly after this historic achievement. Following the successful attack, the H.L. Hunley failed to return to shore, and Hunley and his 7-person crew died at sea. The specific cause of the submarine's sinking is unknown. However, several possibilities have been presented. Some claim that the submarine was damaged by its own torpedo explosion, while others believe that technological concerns prevented it from surfacing. But where does the myth about the genital prosthesis arise from? Let us know in the comments below. Number 5. Thomas Migley Jr. Thomas Migley Jr., an American engineer and chemist. Migley is best known for his work on leaded gasoline and chlorofluorocarbons. His inventions had significant impacts on the automotive and refrigeration industries, but also led to serious environmental and health issues. However, Migley's death was caused by an invention designed to help him cope with his polio. In 1940, Migley contracted polio and became severely disabled. To help himself get in and out of bed, he devised a complex system of pulleys and ropes. Tragically, in 1944, Migley became entangled in the device and was strangled to death. Migley's death underscores the potential dangers inventors face, even from devices meant to assist them in daily life. Number 4. William Bullock. Bullock, a visionary newspaper editor, transformed the printing business with his innovative modifications to the rotary printing press, ushering in a new era of efficiency and productivity. Bullock's invention that changed the paper loading method was at the heart of his idea. Instead of manually feeding material, his idea allowed a continuous roll of paper, several miles long, to flow smoothly through the printing machine. This innovation significantly increased printing rates, allowing manufacturers to produce an amazing 8,000 to 10,000 sheets per hour. During the installation of a printing press, he had a terrible accident. His leg became entangled in the harsh gear, causing a severe injury that ultimately proved fatal. Gangrene quickly crept in, taking his life only days after the sad tragedy. The circumstances surrounding Bullock's death are the subject of conflicting narratives. According to other sources, he accidentally kicked the machine while moving the press into position, entangling his foot and leg in the mechanics. Regardless of the exact sequence of events, the end was tragically consistent. Number 3. Juan de la Cierva. Juan de la Cierva, a Spanish civil engineer and aviator, made history with his design of the autogyro, a groundbreaking rotorcraft that combines elements of both airplanes and helicopters. Cierva's pioneering work on the autogyro was a watershed moment in aviation history, transforming the field and providing the framework for the development of contemporary helicopters. Cierva's interest in rotary wing aircraft began in the early 1920s, motivated by a desire to create a vehicle capable of vertical flight while avoiding the mechanical difficulties and inherent instability of early helicopter designs. His clever autogyro plan included an unpowered rotor system to generate lift, as well as a separate engine and propeller arrangement for forward thrust. On December 9, 1936, Cierva boarded a KLM DC-2 aircraft bound for the Netherlands for discussions on the prospective use of autogyros for postal delivery. Tragically, immediately after takeoff from Croydon Airport in London, the aircraft crashed, killing everyone on board. The premature death of Cierva and his fellow passengers in the incident dealt a severe blow to the aviation fraternity. The autogyro continues to be a symbol of Cierva's unique vision and unwavering commitment to aerial transportation advancement. Despite his untimely death, his innovation continues to inspire developments in rotorcraft design. Number 2. Thomas Andrew. The Titanic, dubbed an unsinkable ship by its builders, tragically sank on its first voyage, succumbing to the icy embrace of an iceberg that broke its apparently impenetrable hull. Thomas Andrews, the brain behind the Titanic's design, emphasized the vessel's invincibility by claiming 16 watertight compartments. However, when the Titanic struck with the iceberg, the impact damaged 5 of these compartments, dealing a devastating blow that exceeded the ship's structural strength. After analyzing the extent of the damage, Andrews grimly projected that the Titanic would sink in 3 hours due to the unrelenting advance of the freezing waters. In retrospect, nautical experts blamed the Titanic's sinking not on the quality of its steel, but on the rivets that held its massive structure together. These seemingly tiny components proved insufficient to withstand nature's wrath, sealing the ship's demise. Andrews's foresight and calls for more lifeboats to secure the safety of all passengers went unanswered. Concerns over aesthetics and deck space took precedence over precautionary measures, leaving the Titanic severely underprepared for tragedy. If Andrews' pleadings had been heard, there could have been enough lifeboats to accommodate everyone aboard the ill-fated voyage. Tragically, Andrews died along with countless others when the Titanic sank into the frigid depths of the North Atlantic. Number 1. Stockton Rush. Rush joins the ranks of ill-fated inventors, adding another somber chapter to the annals of maritime tragedy. Alongside 4 others aboard the Titan submersible, Rush embarked on a voyage to explore the wreck of the Titanic. However, their journey took a tragic turn on June 18th, as the submersible vanished without a trace. The disappearance of the Titan prompted an extensive search and rescue operation involving the U.S. Navy, the U.S. Coast Guard, and acclaimed filmmaker James Cameron, director of the iconic film Titanic. Despite their efforts, the submersible remained elusive, plunging into the depths of uncertainty. After 5 days of relentless searching, Coast Guard officials delivered a devastating announcement on June 22nd. The Titan had suffered a catastrophic implosion a mere 1,600 feet from the Titanic shipwreck. The revelation sent shockwaves through the maritime community, igniting speculation and sorrow in equal measure. In response to this tragic event, the Coast Guard initiated a Marine Board of Investigation, tasked with uncovering the root cause of the implosion. This rigorous inquiry represents the highest level of investigation within the organization, underscoring the gravity of the situation. The ill-fated submersible, conceived by Rush, was intended to spearhead an ambitious adventure tourism venture focused on exploring the remnants of the Titanic. However, the dream of maritime exploration quickly gave way to the harsh realities of the deep sea. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.